The New York Knicks have traded multi-time All-Star Julius Randle for multi-time All-Star Karl Anthony Towns. Knicks Nation is on fire right now. Knicks Nation is on fire right now. And what's even worse, they're conflicted. This is a blockbuster trade, and a trade that legitimizes the New York Knicks now as championship contenders for the next 5 years. Let's talk about it right now, here on Knicks Deli. Now listen up. I'm on the record. It's well documented that I did not want Karl Anthony Towns on the New York Knicks. Let's put some mother-flipping respect on Julius Caesar Randle's name. Julius Randle has solidified his spot as a Knicks legend. He will get the elaborate video, the standing ovation when he returns to the Garden. He will be on Knicks Legend Row in about 10 years. Julius Randle has earned his stripes in New York. He did what major stars in his era at that time were scared to do. And ultimately, he took the first blow for it. To make it cool again, to play in Madison Square Garden, to play in New York. Julius Randle grew up in New York as a man. He helped New York get back in a winning position, and he really transformed into an all-star right before our very eyes. So I say this, we appreciate you, Julius. You are forever good in this city. You forever will be part of the New York Knicks family. So respect to you. Now, back to our regularly scheduled programming. The acquisition of Karl Anthony Towns changes the profile of the New York Knicks. Leon Rose is going down as one of the top executives in NBA history. What the New York Knicks have done is made a move that legitimizes their threat to NBA champion Boston Celtics and the former NBA champion, the Denver Nuggets. With this move, the New York Knicks shoot past Indiana, and they also strike fear in the hearts of the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's start with the player himself. Now, many would argue that trading Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns is a straight up swap, and it really doesn't make the New York Knicks any better. Me, I'm the person I'm talking about. I'm many of them, okay? Because I once made that argument. But Knicks fans, F with me on this one. Karl Anthony Towns is considered a top player in the NBA for several reasons, and you can't take this away from him. First off, he's known for his elite scoring ability. Karl Anthony Towns is one of the most versatile big men in the league. He combines size, he combines skill. He can score from anywhere on the court, whether it's shooting three-pointers, whether it's dominating in the post, or even driving to the basket. For a center, his shooting touch is nearly unparalleled, and he's consistently among the highest scoring big men within the NBA. Second, his shooting range. This man's three-point shooting is absurd for a big man. At times, he shot over 40% from deep, which is more than Mikal Bridges, and that forces defenders to respect his shot all the way out to the perimeter, thus opening up the floor for his teammates. Another thing about Towns is his rebounding. Towns is a force on the boards. His size, his athleticism allow him to grab defensive and offensive rebounds at a high rate. But something else that's overlooked is his playmaking ability. Towns has excellent court vision for a big man. He can make smart passes out of double teams, and he's capable of running offensive sets, which makes him more of a dynamic than a traditional center. But another piece is his defense. While defense isn't always considered a strength for Cat, his improved rim protection and defensive awareness over the years has stood out. He's a solid shot blocker, and he could use his length to alter shots. But his versatility and his ability to stretch the floor, handle the ball, score from multiple spots makes him a nightmare for opposing defenses. Karl Anthony Towns is not just a traditional center. He can do many things, and forwards struggle to guard him. But something else also that I like about him is his improved leadership and work ethic. With the arrival of Anthony Edwards, he skyrocketed his confidence. the outspoken, brash, otherworldly talented guard, took the NBA by storm, but at the same time, he pumped up confidence in Cat. Cat, at that point in time, started to say he was like the best shooting center in NBA history, okay? But since then, Towns has taken on more of a leadership role for the Timberwolves, and we saw that with their run last year. So despite having adversity, including injuries as well as challenges with his team dynamics, that man continued to put up elite numbers, even with a redefined role next to Rudy Gobert. Karl-Anthony Towns in many ways represents the modern NBA big man, a combination of size, shooting, versatility. You could say he's amongst today's current unicorns at center, part sharpshooter, part rebounder, part playmaker, such as Kristaps, Nikola, and Wembanyama. So yes, this move Leon Rose has made the New York Knicks play style comparable to those teams who project to dominate over the next 5 years. We're in the mix.
But shit, it didn't work out well with Cat and Tom Thibodeau in Minnesota. How's it gonna work in New York?
Shut up, bitch!
Listen, now that Karl-Anthony Towns will play under Tom Thibodeau in New York as a New York Knick, there's going to be several positives, both for Towns individually and for the team. Towns will develop even more so defensively. Thibodeau is one of the most defensive-minded coaches in the NBA. And although Towns has improved defensively, working with Thibs again, the man is going to help him take his game to the next level. Thibodeau's system could help Towns improve his rim protection, his positioning, his overall awareness, also helping him evolve into a more complete player on that end of the floor. Now, similar to his team in Minnesota, Towns is coming into another strong defensive culture. The Knicks have developed a tough defensive, gritty identity under Tom Thibodeau. Joining this defensive-minded team could continue to push Towns to elevate his intensity on that end of the floor. And playing alongside defensive anchors like Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby, that's going to take pressure off of Towns, defensively at least. Similar to what took place with Gobert. His primary option days are over. The Knicks already have a superstar. Towns has shown himself to be on the doorstep of being a superstar offensive player. With his versatile scoring ability, Cat could easily become a juggernaut focal point on our offense. Tibido likes to run his offense through his top players, so think Jalen Brunson. Now, Towns will have plenty of opportunities to shine. But the genius of this move is the pick and roll mastery that's now going to be central to the Knicks. As mentioned with the point guard like Jalen Brunson, Cat could become the centerpiece of pick and roll and pick and pop plays. Tibido has utilized these actions successfully before, and Towns' shooting and rolling ability would elevate the Knicks' offensive scheme. We become more unpredictable. But my biggest beef with bringing Cat to New York City was that he was soft, kind of like an insecure powder puff.
That's some soft ass shit. Shut that soft ass shit up. All that soft talking. I know you can do it, man. You got the, man, shut that soft ass shit up.
But the man grew up in New Jersey, and we got to remind ourselves that. He is East Coast. So it's time to shut that soft-ish up, okay? Playing in New York with this team will give him structure, and it'll give him discipline. Karl-Anthony Towns has had his ups and downs out there in Minnesota, dealing with the coaching changes, dealing with the inconsistency within the team's culture. But Tom Thibodeau brings structure, discipline, and accountability, something that Cat struggled with to stay focused and to maximize his potential. Thibs is no nonsense, and Towns could become a more consistent performer, particularly on defense, where he's sometimes been criticized in the past. And as a result, I think we can expect an increase in his work ethic and his focus. Under Thibs, the Knicks are known for hard practices. They're known for playing with maximum effort. For Towns, who has immense talent, this kind of environment could be the push he needs to develop a more tenacious approach to his game. Now, the key is going to be maximizing Towns' skill set in New York. I get flashbacks of iHeart saying that Thibs capped him and didn't allow him to fully show his bag. So the question may be for many Knicks fans, Will there be position flexibility? Tom Thibodeau has shown flexibility in using his big men before. With iHeart, I just think that we were winning with the formula that we had. In Towns, he would have a center who can stretch the floor like no other. Towns could play the 5 in small ball lineups, but also shift to the 4 next to someone like Mitchell Robinson, allowing him to operate more on the perimeter and use his shooting and ball handling skills to exploit matchups. Let's be clear, iHeart is no Karl Anthony Towns. So Cat's ability to shoot from deep and score inside gives Tibido a unique weapon. He could space the floor for slashers like McCall Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson, but he can also dominate in the paint, something that the Knicks have lacked in recent years. With Tom Thibodeau's structured offense, Towns could thrive in a system that prioritizes his strengths. And lastly, expect Towns to really shine bright like a diamond in this big market, this media spotlight. Playing for the New York Knicks brings a massive spotlight to a player. This could be huge for Karl Anthony Towns, who has the talent to thrive in a big market, but hasn't played in one yet. The New York Knicks media attention combined with playing for a competitive team under Tom Thibodeau could push Cat to a new level of stardom and competitiveness. The Knicks have built a strong culture, and the Knicks have a championship aspiration now. Joining a rising Knicks team under a veteran coach like Tom Thibodeau could give Towns the chance to play historic basketball in the postseason, something he hasn't had in Minnesota. This places Towns in a consistent winning environment. The Knicks have been on an upswing, and Tom Thibodeau's focus on defense could help Towns be part of a consistent winner and a consistent winning culture. This shift to a team that is clearly headed in the right direction might reignite Towns' drive and help him reach his peak in terms of his potential, especially when competing for NBA championships every year, as I anticipate we're going to do over the next 5. Playing with a superstar guard like Brunson and a high IQ, highly defensive player like McCall Bridges or OG Anunoby should take the burden off of Cat. And that also will allow him to thrive as part of a strong core that we have here. So my final thoughts is this Karl Anthony Towns, Tom Thibodeau reunion on the New York Knicks is about blending Towns' immense offensive talent with Tom Thibodeau's defensive structure and disciplined approach. Towns may have clashed with Thibs in Minnesota, but a fresh start in New York with a more mature, battle-tested version of both will bring out the best in Towns and elevate the Knicks into a consistent championship contender. The duo of Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson is incredibly dynamic, combining Brunson's crafty playmaking with Cat's scoring ability, his versatility, his size. The New York Knicks are back, and we're closer to feeling more like the 70s Knicks now than we are the 90s Knicks. It's time to bring home a championship. Needless to say, I approve the trade. I'm Sheer, and I approve this message. Here on Knicks Deli.
Knicks Deli Edition.
Knicks Deli Edition. I'm out. Peace.